It is Eating Disorders Awareness Week, an annual campaign shining a light and offering support to those impacted by eating disorders.
According to the National Eating Disorders Association, 9% of Americans will have an eating disorder at some point in their life, and they can be extremely debilitating and, in some cases, life-threatening. Joining us now is Dr. Peter Devries, a psychiatrist who serves as medical director for adult inpatient eating disorder recovery at Rogers Behavioral Health, a facility with locations across the U.S., including right here in Illinois. Doctor, thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
First, can we talk about what eating disorders are and some of the common types?
Yeah, definitely. I think when most people think of eating disorders, they probably think of like anorexia nervosa, which is when an individual struggles with concerns over their body, desires, pretty significant weight loss, and because of that, they engage in restrictive eating behaviors. There are other eating disorders as well where there's concern over body image, like bulimia nervosa. That's when an individual would engage in binging behaviors, so they're eating kind of excessive amount of food in a short period of time, oftentimes alone, and then feeling guilty about this. And then after this, they engage in compensatory behaviors. So that can be exercising or making themselves ill. There's binge eating disorder, where they're eating excessive amount of food as well, but don't engage in the compensatory behaviors. And then there's some eating disorders where there isn't a concern about body image, and something like avoidant restrictive food intake disorder, or ARFID. And that's where they're restricting their intake because of, no appetite, fear of choking, difficulty with textures of food. So there's a wide variety of eating disorders out there.
And you mentioned ARFID, and I know you elaborated on many of those things, but talk about the diet culture that's big here in the United States, certainly with social media, the influence is there. Do you see a correlation between in the people that you're treating who are developing these eating disorders?
Yeah, I think that is a really good point. Diet culture, I think, is so prominent within the United States. I think it is a very risky kind of mindset. When we're starting to put our body image, our weight over other things that we value in life, that can be a really tricky spot. And I think oftentimes social media does just that, when we kind of are seeing individuals who kind of we're striving to look like, that might just not be healthy, and kind of puts us at a spot where we want to engage in some eating disorder behaviors, and it can be very, very risky medically.
You mentioned ARFID, the avoidant restrictive food intake disorder. It was just recognized as a diagnosis in 2013. You mentioned some of the reasons that may trigger it or that go into it, but can you tell us more about it? And is it becoming more widely known, and what are the treatments?
Yeah, so it was recently kind of put out there as a diagnosis about 10 years ago or so. So it's individuals who are restricting, again, because fear of textures of food, or fear of fullness, fear of choking, or no appetite. There's more and more research that's going on out there and kind of the best ways of treating it. Here at Rogers, we do a very collaborative approach with a therapist, with dietitian, with a psychiatrist, with primary care physicians. So kind of a really kind of well-rounded approach to kind of see what some of their core beliefs are and how we can get them back on track nutritionally.
Right.
Dr. Devries, very important information about this and highlighted during this week. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.